what can we do, bro? We can only sit here and wait and see what happens. Um, it feels like this is a sliding doors moment for FSG. So there are still a lot of Liverpool fans who are on side with them. And, winning a league title definitely helps them in that regard. But for me, if they don't act in this window, I think you're going to see a backlash that is going to be a follow on effect from disappointment from Trent and stuff like that. And I think this is their summer. If they don't get it right this summer, what I struggle to see, Eddie, is where's the excuse? So it's no Arna wants to settle in, have a look at his team. It's not going to be we didn't have a sporting director in place and the staff needed to get to grips and go through all the analytics, and there are no more excuses. We've not spent in two windows. Our sporting director's been in a year. Edwards is back at the club. We've a new coach in. We know where we lie with the contract situations of certain players. So the excuses are gone. And many, many journalists have written about the fact that Liverpool don't have PSR headaches and have an ability to spend. So for me, it's going to be very clear. And I can promise you one thing. If they don't, I'm not going to shut up talking about it. And if they thought I was bad before with the where's the money John stuff and calling them cheap, I'm going to intensify that tenfold, mate, because this is it. We made a mistake last time we won the league and we didn't push on from it. If you don't learn from your mistakes, that's a bigger problem. Because for me, we can all make them. We can all have judgments that go one way or the other, but you need to learn from the things you've done wrong. And we didn't strengthen from a position of strength after winning the league the last time, and it would be stupidity of the highest order for us not to do it this time. So we'll just have to wait and see, I'm afraid. Cal said, Craig, imagine the scenes if FSG we actually win the sacred quadruple. How much broccoli if that happens? If we win a quadruple, I'll have 2 pieces of broccoli for you, mate. Here you go. But with regards to the spending, see, I found myself in this really uncomfortable position over the last month because I'm sitting here and have always said, I want FSG to spend. I want FSG to spend. They're cheap. They're cheap. But in all honesty, I've always understood not just throw money away. So I have no issue if we move on players that the club don't want and use that money to improve the squad. And if the net spend at the end of the window is only, let's say, 100 million quid, I don't care as long as we all look at that team and think we've upgraded left back, we've upgraded right back, centre back positions boxed off, we've got 2 new attackers in. How they do that and how they get to the point where they improve the team, I don't mind. But it has to be done. And if it's done and we do it on the cheap and we're all happy about it, brilliant. I want the club to be sustainable. I'm not an idiot. Despite what the likes of some of the Echo journalists like to think about us fans that call out the owners on stuff, we don't all want to be Chelsea or Manchester City. But we do want our owners to show some desire to win and back the manager. And Arna's proven himself. Now's the time to prove it by going out there and using the money you've saved over the last 2 windows, plus the money that we've made this year, plus the Adidas deal that's coming in, and go out there and give the manager what he needs. But I'll still believe it when I see it. We need to strengthen from a position of strength, said Hex. Michael Dunstan said, have all that time to settle in and the manager has to bring in 6 players this summer. Exactly, he has to. Eddie said the excuse where you get because they had the excuse you'll get will be because they had to give Mo and Virgil new contracts, no money left. So I've seen that mentioned by, I want to say James Pearce, but excuse me if I'm wrong. I've seen that mentioned, and in my eyes, that doesn't cut mustard, Eddie, because I look at it differently. So you cannot make the argument that they've put an investment into the next few years, but again, the counter argument is going to be, well, how much more would it have cost if we didn't renew them to go out and actually replace them both? I'm guessing that would have cost a pretty penny more to go out there to try and replace Virgil and Mo. And on top of that, they've gone through another whole season where they didn't have pay rises. So they've saved money over the course of this season again, right up to the last minute. So that excuse isn't going to wash with me anyway, mate, because as we mentioned, when we had Mo Chatra on the channel a while back, and Mo's estimations, what it would probably cost 200 or 300 million quid to replace what Mo and Virgil give to the team. So it's not going to wash with me, mate, that excuse of these players have been committed to the club. So, you're going to get less signings. No, that just means you don't have to sign a centre back and a right winger because they've stayed, and you've also saved money because of that. So I'm not going to let that be the excuse, my man. King Seventh said, out of 10, how symbolic would it be if our owners let another key player leave on a free, Canade, Diaz, etc., when the contract runs out? I'm just trying to think who that might be. So the one that I could see maybe happening is Andy Robertson, because he has 1 year to go on his deal. And I like that idea. Now hear me out, because I know I've just spent time talking about the fact that we need to be clever about this. But with Andy Robertson, I find it intriguing. We're bringing in a new left back. Let's just say for a second it's Kirkes. So then we have a year where Andy Robertson needs to show that he's still able to be at this level. And he's still able to compete with the young gun who's coming in at left back. And I kind of think in that scenario, that's a good situation. If we lose Robbo, we'll have probably lost him because the manager feels he's lost a step perhaps. And if he stays, he'll have won his contract. So with Robbo and his age profile and the fact that we're bringing a new left back, I actually like the idea that this season's going to be one where he has to play for his future, because I think he'll rise to that challenge. Because Andy Robertson to me seems like the type of lad who will step up and try his best to prove that point. And maybe that's what Mohamed Salah had done this year with the incredible numbers he was able to put up. So yeah, that's the next one I would expect. But I think Robbo will rise to it because, as I said, he seems like a competitive guy who actually loves the club as well, of course. And we all love him. What an incredible servant Robbo has been. I just meant that will be the excuse FSG will use. But they won't get away with it, Eddie. They won't get away with it. Fans are after having their balls tickled over the last couple of months about transfers. And no matter who you read, whatever journalist it might be, whether it's the Echo lads, whether it's Lynch, whether it's Chris Bascom, whether it's David Ornstein, whether it's James Pearce, Paul Joyce, Henry Winter, it doesn't matter. Every single journalist has written about the fact that Liverpool are set for a big summer. So now we've got to see the big summer come to fruition. And our captain is kind of, as I mentioned earlier on, well, he's up the ante by saying he expects a big summer and he trusts the people at the club to get it right. Now, I don't like the way Arne Slot talks about it because that makes me nervous. Because he said that signing up Mo and Virgil is already a good summer. And I get where he's coming from, but there are certain times where I think Arne Slot has perhaps not read the room correctly. And this one, that ain't going to wash. We've been told too many times that X and Y are like new signings. New signings are what's going to be like new signings. Craig, if you had to guess, who do you think Liverpool buy as the striker? I'm torn between being optimistic and thinking they really are trying to work something for Julian Alvarez, because I know that Liverpool's admiration for him is sincere. But push comes to shove, I feel like Ekitike is probably more likely for a few different reasons, but I really wouldn't know. Like, genuinely, I don't know who to sit here and tell you who I think we will sign there. I can tell you who I want, which is Julian Alvarez, but who do I think? I think there's zero chance of Isak at this point because Newcastle will get Champions League football, so zero chance there. I've seen Ollie Watkins' name bandied around, and look, thanks but no thanks, he's 29. Great footballer, good work rate, but no thank you. Sesko could be the joker in the pack because, of course, Jurgen Klopp will be able to, give Liverpool a lot of background information. Yeah, I really just don't know, lads. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't know. Genuinely, I wish I haven't got a clue, and I don't know if anybody does. Really, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Really, I just don't know what to think. I know the ones that would disappoint me, but I don't know who's the most likely because I'm waiting to see what indication we get from where Darwin goes. Because if Darwin goes to Saudi, maybe that makes me think, well, there's very little chance there of Alvarez then. So we're probably more likely to go for an Ekitike or somebody. But, gee, yeah, who knows at this point, mate? Who knows?